Would you mind making your way up where you can see? I mean, we're all here to network, so we want to be close to each other, relatively. So yeah, it would be great if we can all come together. So, yeah. As quiet as we're going to get, I think.
I think so.
So welcome to the Propel SA last event for 2022. Yeah. We're jumping ahead of ourselves a bit here. So welcome to the last event of 2022. It's a real privilege to be here with you all. I would normally say that I'd like to acknowledge the lands of the garden that we're standing on, but we're kind of encompassed in this wonderful venue down here. The lands that actually surround us, because I think we are underground, aren't we? We are underground, so the lands that surround us are the lands of the Ghana people. And I'd like to pay respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And to be here tonight with you all is a thrill. I mean, when we have a look around the room, we see that there are some incredible businesses, some businesses that are household names, Penfolds for one. We see some charities that are doing just incredible work in changing people's lives. But one of the things about coming along to Propel networking events is you do start to realise that most of the people here really genuinely care about their customers and their colleagues. So that's why this is a great network to be part of. Most of you are only too happy to extend a hand, provide some advice, pass on a lead, suggest somewhere to go where people are struggling with their business in some way, shape or form. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one here, and perhaps we'll find that out tonight. I'm sure I'm not the only one here that believes this to be the case. So welcome to you all, and it's great to be around you all. To introduce the special guest tonight and the sponsor, I'd like Mary to step forward and do that if you wouldn't mind.
Good evening, everyone. I suppose it's evening now. Mary Desanis, Chair of the Propel SA Board. Thank you for all coming tonight. It's great to see again a great turnout. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge obviously our special guest, Mayor Jill Whitaker from City of Campbelltown, and Mayor Melissa Jones. Welcome, first time to our event. So I think just newly elected to Town of Walkerville. So thank you for coming. I'd also like to introduce the Propel SA Board, who are sort of hiding in the back dark corners there. If I start from my left here, Karishma Reynolds, who is from City of Burnside, so she's the council representative. Then we have Emily Waska from City of Campbelltown, Sarah Spencer from Town of Walkerville. We also have John Zarella, your hand up John, is our business board member, Duncan Redman, I saw Duncan probably before, there he is sitting down, and Wendy Perry. So that's the board, and we have been fairly busy right through the year, and we are now ending the year here and getting into another big busy year next year. But again, thank you for coming, but I also would like to acknowledge Leah. Where's Leah? There's Leah in the dark. Leah Bayliss, Champagne Recruitment, is our sponsor for tonight, so without Leah being here as a sponsor, we probably wouldn't be doing too much. But again, thank you so much, Leah, and we'll get to hear from you very shortly. Have a great night, and it's going to be a full-on night. There's a lot of food coming through, a lot of wine, so make the most of it, and keep safe. Thank you.
So if we haven't met yet, I'm Scott Perry from Switch Start Scale, and I'll be MC for tonight. And before I said that I really think this is a great network to be part of. People will always extend a hand. It's a friendly network to be part of. And I also said that I'm sure I'm not the only one here that thinks that. So if you agree with me, if you think this is a great network, if you think the people around you are there to support you, could you raise your hand for me, please? Yeah, would you mind? Coming up and sharing a bit about that? Because what we do here, I mean, I don't know, but if you've been out and talked about Propel SA and someone's maybe come back with responses like, I just don't have the time for the networking and that sort of thing, and you think, well, this is such great value, and that's why you probably turn up tonight. So, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Karen Conlon and I'm from Saltover Accounting and Business. My business is 12 years old, and I've been a member of Propel for 12 years.
Oh, fantastic. So what would you say to someone that sort of thought, maybe I don't have the time to attend these networking events, I'm just overwhelmed and I can't sort of make the time to get out and network?
Well, we're in Adelaide, right? So networking is 100% essential in Adelaide. You need to know all the people that are in this room, all the people that are in the other networking rooms. Networking is absolutely paramount to business in Adelaide. We do get to meet other people. Also the most important thing is to get to know people on a not only a business side, but also on that personal side, so that when you actually get the opportunity to refer or have a referral received, then you actually know that you're handing it over to a friend and a colleague. So most importantly, get to know people, because that's the way that you can give and potentially receive. And the most important part is giving.
Because you go to so many networking events and people might say, I go to a lot of other networking events, why Propel say?
Okay, so Propel I think is that it's a very broad range of people and services that might be useful to your business. There are accountants, there's financial planners, there's insurance brokers, there are business coaches, all of the different aspects that you might find useful in a business, they're here.
Very good. Is anyone else agree with that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Come on. Anyone else agree with that?
Yes.
This is an enthusiastic business network, so it's good to hear that response. Thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Round of applause for Karen, please. And right now we'd like to hear from our sponsor for tonight.
Yes.
So Leah, would you mind coming forward, introducing yourself? I'll leave you to introduce yourself because we're at a networking event and that's kind of something we've got to get used to doing. So.
Excuse the notes, everybody. I'm not great at public speaking without them. So my name is Leah Bayliss and I'm the Managing Director of Champagne Recruitment. Thanks for having me, Propel SA. It's a real privilege to be the sponsor this evening at this gorgeous Penfolds estate. I'd like to start by asking everybody here tonight, if you're like me, lean back distinctive, pop of champagne cork to celebration. I mention this because it's why I chose the name Champagne Recruitment. Finding the right person for a company is cause for everyone to celebrate. The candidate, the company, and me, of course. Champagne Recruitment has been in operation for just under 18 months, so I started in July of last year. Prior to this role, I was working for a slightly larger recruitment firm, and before that I was a year 11 and 12 teacher at a trade and apprenticeship college, teaching all the career-based subjects. They were both really great jobs, and I love seeing people excited starting a new opportunity. Starting my own business was very daunting. So many of you who have started your own businesses, I'm sure you felt the same way. But now I consider myself a fully fledged career matchmaker. It's hard to be a successful matchmaker unless you know both parties well. And that's what I feel I do best. I love a chat. I get to know everyone, the client needing the new employee and the candidate seeking a new employer. And I follow the process every step of the way. The area I specialise in is office support and professional roles, and that's across all industries. So I've recruited across IT support, executive assistants, accountants, marketing specialists, front and behind the scenes, admin assistants, and everything in between. I'm often asked why someone should use a recruitment agency rather than just placing an ad on Seek. At Champagne Recruitment, we take a human-centric approach to create perfect matches between clients and candidates. Building relationships and having a genuine understanding of you, your business and our candidates is essential to finding the right match. So finding the right person for your role can be time-consuming and resource-heavy, and that's even before you've a suitable candidate to interview, and I'm sure many of you have been in that situation. Champagne Recruitment offers a highly personalised service to our clients. We find outstanding candidates, well I think they are, and there's one of them here this evening who's absolutely fabulous, who quickly match the role requirements and your business culture. We always start by meeting with you to gain an understanding of your ideal candidate, your business and culture. This is a crucial step as it helps us find candidates who fit the role in every way. I will also write and advertise your vacancy, conduct a thorough candidate search and selection, conduct all interviews and shortlist strong candidates and work with you through the finalisation process. Once you've secured a suitable candidate, I'll be in touch to see how your sparkling candidate is fitting in. I've clearly created some matches made in heaven, as I have had considerable repeat business from companies seeking out their next employee. And I really do celebrate this. It feels like a wonderful win to me. So that's Champagne Recruitment in a nutshell. I'm really proud of where I've come and where I am, and I can't wait to help others on their career journey too. So thank you once again for having me this evening. Have a very Merry Christmas, and I hope that 2023 brings us all the joy that we deserve. So cheers to that.
Put your hands together for tonight's sponsor, Champagne Recruitment, and a wonderful public speaker, even though she might not admit it herself. This is a Port Supportive Network, so hands together for that public speaking audience. Fantastic. Zoe, where are you? Zoe, we are not only fortunate enough to have a member sponsor an event like this to make it happen, we're also very fortunate that Zoe is in the country. And Zoe is brand ambassador?
Yes.
Brand ambassador for Penfolds. So you're going to get not only are you going to get a fantastic network experience, you're going to get a little bit of insight into the wine industry and Penfolds as well.
That's right. Well, welcome everyone. I think there's a couple of you that were here in February. I can't believe it's almost been a year since we had the first Propel SA event here. Just a little bit on Penfolds. I think we did talk, you were just saying that we are very fortunate to be underground here. The Penfolds McGill Estate property is our spiritual home for Penfolds. So our founders were English of descent, and they actually set sail from England in 1844. So 178, nearly 179 years ago, with the intent of coming out to make medicinal purpose wine. So Dr. Penfold, Christopher Rawson Penfold, one of our founders, was a medicinal doctor and believed in the medicinal virtues of wine. So coming over here, they purchased vine cuttings that they had the roots dipped in wax to preserve them, and brought over varieties that were perfect for making fortified wines. And I guess that's where our winemaking philosophies were steeped. Were in fortified wines, and up until the 1950s, so nearly a century later, when we became famous for the styles of wine that we make today. So this property was purchased in the 1844. It was 500 acres in size back in those days, and it was all farming land, and they paid £1,200 for it. So it was quite a sum of money for that time. Currently, we have about 12 acres left of vineyard out the front here, which was all replanted from 1950 to 100% Shiraz, and was the original sourcing for our most famous wine, Grange, today. You might have noticed that the cottage in the centre of the vines as well. So that was the original home of Dr. Penfold and Mary Penfold, and it was built in 1845. And they named it the Grange, which was actually the name of Mary's ancestral home in England. So subsequently, all the vineyards around it became known as the Grange Vineyards. And then when Max Schubert, our legendary chief winemaker and the creator of Grange, when he decided to make this very revolutionary style of wine for Penfolds, and for Australia at that time, coming out of the 1940s, he sourced 50% of the fruit from just out the front of the cottage, so he just thought it fitting to call it Grange Hermitage. So that's how our most iconic wine got the name. Where we are standing right now, we call it the tunnels or the drives, but these were all hand dug out through the 1920s. Probably took about a decade. We are, and feel free to have a little wander through here. So when you get to the end of the tunnels, where you can actually look up, there's a manhole down in tunnel 3, and it will show you just how far underground we are. So it's about 16 metres underground. And they were dug out for champagne storage back in the 1920s. Obviously sparkling wine, as we have to call it. Then it was the Grange maturation tunnels. And then now obviously it's a beautiful space for us to use for events. But the 5 tunnels down the end here were actually known as the bins back in the 1950s. So when Max Schubert came back from Bordeaux in 1950 with his inspiration to make a great Australian table wine that would be comparable to those of Europe and capable of living for 20 years, which is where Grange came about. All of the wines that he made through the 1950s and 60s were all experiments. He didn't know whether they would work out, and so rather than labelling them and putting them out to market straight away, he allocated sections in these tunnels, or bins as he called them, so it's batch identification number is what it stands for, so this loses a little bit of the romance, sorry. But he stored them down here, and each of those bin numbers just related to a different style. So a lot of people, I quite often, most of my markets are, so my market is in Australia and the US for the most part. And that's the one question I probably get asked the most is, how do you tell the difference? What is the bin numbering system? There's no consecutive bin numbers. And the easiest way to do is there was consecutive numbering from 1 right up to 389 back in the 1960s, which is bin 389 today for those of you who are Penfolds fans. But we didn't have, a lot of those experiments didn't work out. So those numbers just dropped away, and obviously we only have 5 tunnels down here now. So a lot of the newer wines that were given bin numbers, we try and relate it back to either a cellar where it was stored in, or a barrel stack, or potentially a vineyard or something like that. So I think for you as a consumer, understanding or knowing what the bin number relates to, it relates to a style or a personality of that wine. So if you do like a bin 389, yes, we've got a few thumbs up over here, then you'll always know that that's going to be a Cabernet Shiraz every year, and the Baby Grange as well. But if you like a Riesling, so the bin 51 Riesling, you always know that that's going to be an Eden Valley Riesling, and so on. So you just need to find your number and stick with it, I say. So thank you for coming tonight. Again, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, safe holidays. I've spent 8.5 months out of South Australia, and I'm a South Australian girl, so I'm looking very forward to staying home over the Christmas holidays. But we look forward to welcoming you back to McGill next time. So thank you for coming.
Wonderful. Thank you for the insight into some of our favourite wines. Do you mind finding someone who's maybe got a bit of an unusual business to maybe talk about Propel? Someone who's done something a bit different, maybe.
So maybe someone by the name of Todd Johnson?
Todd Johnson. Todd, Mary's the one that put you on the spot. Round of applause for Zoe. Thank you very much. It's very insightful. So, Todd Johnson?
Yeah. Well,
just get it nice and close to your mouth.
Yeah.
Make sure it's on.
All right.
Tell us, what do you do that's so unusual?
well, I've been involved in motorsport for over 30 years, and I actually run a design company that specialises in designing team uniforms and also graphic work on motor racing vehicles. That's one business that I've got.
Is there anyone else in the same industry here or not?
And also I've worked in hospitality and retail for a lot of years. I actually work in the wine industry now as my main job. So I've seen and heard a lot of funny stuff. So I've got another business called the Ultimate Masterclass in Sarcasm.
Right. Is there anyone else in the industry of sarcasm?
So that's all about making funny t-shirts, signs and all that. Just things that I've heard, things that I've seen, because everything's so serious now, and it's like everything's the masterclass in something. So it really makes a bit of fun of that. So
just on that note, you're in an industry where I don't think there's another person in the sarcasm industry. I don't think there's another person in the motorsport design industry. But you come along to Propel SA events. How long have you been a member?
I've been a member for about the last, say, year and a half. I had the idea, and I thought I was actually batshit crazy, and it's very daunting trying to start up a business. You think about starting up a business and then you think it's all too hard. And then, I sort of got on the Propel website and thought, all right, I'll come along, see what it's all about. And it's been really good because you talk to a huge amount of people, all different sorts of businesses, and it makes you feel better that you're not the only crazy one starting a business.
So you heard it here first, mate. So you're crazy, come along to Propel.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some not so crazy people.
Yeah, but it is very, very valuable just talking to people and seeing what they do and just the networking. Yeah.
Very good. So would you say that if it wasn't for the conversations you had with these people here, you might not have ever had that business?
Yeah.
You're responsible. You're responsible for the masterclass. What's the title of the business?
The ultimate masterclass in sarcasm.
So you're all responsible for that.
Yeah.
Can we have a round of applause for Todd, please? Any last words?
It's a wonderful venue tonight. It's a perfect venue. That's another thing that involved in Propel and coming to networking sessions. You get to come to wonderful venues like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, have a
very good.
Merry Christmas and New Year's. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Todd. Now, this is the bit I've been dreading. Because we've got one more person to come up here and have a chat before we get back to some networking and some drinks. So, I've written it phonetically. I'd like to introduce you. Actually, probably don't have to introduce you because most of you will be introduced to Lauren de Cesare. Via Adelaide or Hello SA. So, round of applause for Lauren. Thanks for coming along.
Hi everyone, how are you? I can't begin to say how important these sorts of events are. And when we started 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago now in January, I would have given anything to have something like this, because when you do start a business, you feel really alone. And I was very fortunate enough to have Hayley, but when you actually start by yourself, it's a very lonely thing to do, isn't it? To go through all the hardship of starting a business, but it's also great.
It is. So, would you mind, let's just share some of those struggles. Can you tell us about how the concept came about and a little bit of the backstory behind Adelaide?
Of course. Well, you might have listened to my business partner on SAFM. She was on the breakfast show. Michael, Hayley and Virgo. She was on air and I was their executive breakfast producer. So that station gave me Hayley, my business partner, and Virgo is now the father of my child. So SAFM did quite well, although when we were there we hated each other, so that's a whole other story. But anyway, so it was great, and we both left at the same time. Hayley was having her second child, and it depends on who I'm talking to, I think I can be honest here. I was going crazy. I was literally doing 100-hour weeks, and my hair started falling out, and I was going to the doctor, and I was like, something's not right. So I left and went and did a Kentucky. Yeah, I did. I blew all my money and I had to call my parents to help me get home from Ireland because I was done. And then I remember coming home and Hayley wanted to catch up for a coffee. So I was like, Mum, if you give me $20, I'll pay you back when I'm rich and famous. I always used to say that. So when I got the TV show, Dad was like, holy shit, we're going to get all this money back. And I was like, no, we pay for the show. It's completely different. You're not getting anything back. But so I met up with Hayley for a coffee. And her little boy, her second little boy, was really easy. First boy was harder. And she was like, I'm bored. I've had 8 weeks of maternity leave. She left radio going, I'm going to have a year off. And 8 weeks into it, she was like, what do I do? And I didn't have a job yet. So we decided to start something. And having both been in the media industry, we said we wanted to take everything we loved from the media industry and leave all the crap behind. And that crap was, sales reps telling us we had to talk about certain things we didn't care about because they'd sold it and were reaching KPIs, for example. Or Kim Kardashian doing something. I didn't care. We had to talk about all these things. So right from the beginning, we're like, let's start a website sharing the best of South Australia that lets us be creative, and we'll only ever talk about things that we like. Like one of us had to be into it. She had kids, I was single, so we had very different lives. So we found different things to talk about. And we really never started it to be a business, because at that time I then got another job working in a charity at the Leukemia Foundation, and you know, Adelaide was our side hustle, which I know many of you might have had to do, because you know, you might have a passion in something, but it's not going to pay the bills. So I had another job, and we'd do Adelaide at nights and everything like that. And then it started to grow. And our biggest thing was collaborating. So that's why, once again, why networking events are so important, is because we started writing, this is 8 years ago when people kind of weren't doing this stuff. You know, top 10 burgers in South Australia, top 10 espresso martinis, and we'd be tagging all these businesses, and then suddenly they'd all start sharing it. And we were like, holy shit, we just went up 500 followers in like an hour. And then we'd do another one and do another one, and our following started growing quite quickly. But honestly, I can't say right from that get-go, it was all about collaborating and networking. And we never thought the business would kind of move where it did. Who here, when they started their business, had a business plan? No, me either. Oh, one guy down the back. I bet you're an accountant or a financial planner. Finance, okay, cool. All right. You're not, okay, just stand over there. Like, so how's the business plan going? I know, I'm like, our business plan's like 20 pages long, it's so intense. I'll send it to you. The closest thing we had to a business plan was my niece at Seymour in Year 12 did a case study on us. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. She took this, she got 20 out of 20 for it. I was like, we'll file this away in our documents. But, you know, if we'd actually spent all that time writing a business plan, we would have actually, for 6 months into the business, it was Channel 9 said, we want to turn your social following into a TV show. That wouldn't have been in the business plan, so we would have spent 6 months writing a business plan going, the business plan's obsolete, what do we do? It's been 6 months in our lives. And so yeah, we started the TV show, and like many people, we walked in thinking we were going to walk out millionaires. We're like, we're going to be on TV, this is going to be great. And that didn't happen, because they said, you know, come up with 150 grand and we'll make 8 episodes of TV. And that was the minute I knew Hayley and I were set for life, because we both went, yeah, cool, we'll do that. But we'd never made $1. So at that point, they could have said $1 million. It was all the same thing to us. But we did it. And so that's why Hayley and I have always, I don't know, we always just bluff our way into things going, yeah, cool, we'll just find 150 grand. Where are we going to find 150 grand?
So let's talk to something that you brought up then that is no doubt a pain for some of the members here, and has probably been a pain for everyone at some time, paying the bills. Can we talk about the revenue streams? How do you just go out there and make people like you and get on TV? How does that actually work? You don't know.
This wasn't in my notes. No. Well, I think the biggest thing we did right from that beginning was, one, we'd never talk about anything we didn't like or didn't want to talk about. So I still remember when we were starting, and this was like, you know, the 150 grand target, and that could have been $10 million, and we needed money, and someone wanted to be part of the show. And it just didn't sit well with me. And I remember going, I don't think this is right for you and your brand, so can you just take your 20 grand, and I think maybe you should spend it here, here, and here. It killed me to do, because we desperately needed that money, but that honesty I feel like has come back twofold. I think that is what really helped us in South Australia. We are all, probably half of us are related, we all know each other. If you're Italian and Greek like me, we probably are related, to be fair. And I think the biggest thing in starting a business is that honesty right from the beginning. Don't, you know, learn to say no, which can sometimes, I still can't say no, like in sense of, can you do this? And you put your family second and then everyone else second. But when it came to that money stuff and what was right for our business, we had to say no, and we still do that today. I think that's so important. It has to fit your brand, and then it'll help your brand so much further in the future, working and aligning with good brands.
Well, I don't know if these figures are still up to date. I think 123 followers on Insta.
1,000.
123,000. 123,000. 123,000 followers on Insta. 91,000 likes. 100,000 followers on Facebook. I mean, it's probably week old, so who knows?
We haven't got that much in the week. It slows down after a while. There's heaps quicker at the beginning.
Yeah. So,
TikTok. Just saying, nobody wants to see finance men on TikTok, or probably even Instagram. Or maybe we do, I don't know. You might be great on TikTok. It's about finding the right social mediums that fit into your business. And you might have, like I always say, like mum content, for example, parks and childcare centres and stuff goes a lot better on Facebook. It doesn't necessarily resonate as much on Instagram because the audience is younger. So with all of your businesses, I would say you don't have to be on everything just because everyone's doing it, because then you start to do a poor job, and then it will start to fall to the bottom of your to-do list because you don't want to do it. But you might just be, if you're finance or you're accounting, you nail Facebook. Nail Facebook and stick to one platform. You don't have to be on everything. And we grew quite quickly, I guess, because we were fortunate enough to be pushing everything in South Australia, from restaurants to accommodations to councils and tourism, and we get to share all this stuff. But when it's just the one thing that you're pushing your business, I think my biggest advice would be you don't have to post every day. Think about what you're posting and know what medium works for you. Do that research before just going, everyone's on Snapchat, let's get on it. Don't get on Snapchat. You can if you want to.
I can get on Snapchat. Thank you. Can I just ask, I don't know why these notes are here. I want to ask, because you've just brought up so much, I just want to come back to your tribe of pineapples.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk to your tribe of pineapples and what that means and how it was to kind of identify that?
Yeah, so I guess our tribe is two-pronged approach there. Our staff, everyone we've hired, I mean, you all probably have staff hiring people. I wish I knew about champagne recruitment. It's actually the hardest thing you have to do, managing staff and finding the right staff. In a small team of people, the one wrong person can completely demolish your business. So our rule of thumb is everyone we've hired, we've known. Christy, we worked at SAFM together back in the day, Icy Cold Cancer Coke and the Black Thunder. And then 10 years later, we hired her. Millie, our first employee we hired, worked for the Kiwi Foundation with me. You need to have the right personalities. So we've built a tribe of, there's 9 girls now in the office, and then our filming team of cameraman, producer, editor, they all contract. Bloody hell, they're expensive, but they're also brilliant. But we've got them on the outer, but you've got to gel with them. We found that right tribe of people that always hire people that are better than you and everything, because then it makes everything work. Never not do that. So we've got the pineapple tribe in that sense, and then I guess we've always considered our followers and stuff friends. So we talk to everyone as friends. It's never the hashtag VIP type stuff, because why would Sarah at Brighton want to see me at an event that she wasn't invited to? So that doesn't work for a lot of people. So we've always just kind of kept it, we just want to be real, and we're talking to ourselves, like we're talking to our girlfriend in the park. That's how we always kind of try and keep our posts and our content and everything. I think the biggest thing is just being real in that sense.
I suppose it makes it a little easier, because when someone sends you a list of questions and then they just go off the cuff.
Damn it, I
Let's just keep it real and go right off the cuff and throw it out to the audience.
Wait, one of your questions was, do you have a hobby? And I was like, no, I don't have time for a hobby. That's a terrible question.
Someone from the audience might have asked. Let's throw this out to the audience. Come on, let's go. Surely you've got questions. I mean, I was going to ask Wood for some advice for the audience, but I think we've all got plenty of advice and it's really great with some tips there. So let's throw it out to the audience. So surely someone out there has some really good questions for Lauren.
I could say just as well with the advice, you never know who you're going to meet. We were once at a cafe where it was on a flute. This guy leaned over and said to Hayley, I like your shoes. And she was like, weird. And he goes, oh, they're really cool shoes. And she was like, okay. And then we started this conversation and we developed this friendship. And then suddenly we were in his, he was like, what do you guys do? What's this giant pineapple in your paper? And we started talking, and then suddenly we were in his boardroom the next week. And he owned G-Fresh Spices, which you probably all have in your cupboard. They're little square bottles, Greenlands, made in South Australia. Huge company. From there, he was like, oh yeah, I'll buy a segment. Let's buy a segment. And from there, it grew. And what started as like this lovely little conversation in a coffee shop grew to a friendship, grew to a segment, and then grew to being a major partner for 2 years, sponsoring everything we do, and us working and running their social media and doing everything, to the point where we did ourselves out of a job because they can't sell anymore in South Australia, so they're concentrating on the eastern states. I was like, damn it!
such an exciting opportunity. Like everyone should have their business cards, or like you just honestly never know. That I was like, spices aren't sexy, but gosh, what they make is sexy. Let's work together. We love food. So that was just a chance coffee, you know.
Let's go meet some people.
Yes.
Let's go meet some people.
Please.
Surely someone's got a question for Lauren.
You don't.
Yes.
Lauren, what was
You're going to have to come up and grab the microphone.
I'm really loud.
She's pretty loud.
What was your biggest... Thank you.
First of all, who are you?
I'm Sandra from SA Mums in Business, which is now Business Mums Hub because we go national.
Actually, national, and you also own an amazing photo company.
I have another business, hashtag Instaprints, shameless plug. But yes, I do. But can I ask, I'm a huge fan of failing, not as in I strive to do it, but I don't mind when I do. What is the biggest fuck up that you've done while in business, and what did you learn from it?
How long do we have? If we're going to take the seat and grab a chicken tenderloin. Biggest fuck up. I don't know what I can say. What am I contractually allowed to say? I think the biggest. The biggest mistake.
Your counsel will say don't say that.
You're not my lawyer. You can't tell me shit. No, there's just been lots of because Hayley and I didn't start. We never owned a business. We both worked in media. We both had jobs, and we both got paid by a boss. And then suddenly we started this thing. And like Hayley and I were accounts, and we'd be sending invoices. I was like, I think we need to start a fake account system. So I'll be Shirley in accounts. So we're like emailing people like bitchy emails like bloody pay bills. But they're like, are you Shirley? I'm like, no, Shirley. Shirley's a bitch. We pay her. I'm Shirley. I think the biggest, I probably wish that we'd done the business courses and actually learned the bit like running a business now, going from like not earning anything to now looking after perhaps 14 families, and the overheads, we're just learning as we go. So I think that's been the biggest thing, and working out budgets and cash flows, and no one teaches you that. Like my dad was like, we pay private school fees, didn't you learn that? I'm like, no Dad, they didn't teach us what GST was. I didn't know. The first time we made our first sale was at Adelaide City Council, and our website hadn't launched yet. And we met with them, and they said, we'd like to buy an ad on your website, how much is it? And I was like, it's like $100. And they're like, cool, we'll buy it. I was like, holy shit. And then they left, and Hayley and I both burst into tears, because we didn't, firstly one, I called my dad going, how do you send an invoice? And he was like, oh God, you really don't know you. But we never started it to be that business, you know what I mean? And suddenly it grew. So I guess the learnings of like becoming that one-man band and paying your bills and then suddenly growing. I mean, yeah, there's been lots of little mistakes along the way, but we've always been cautious and always been safe. But then in a sense, you still have to make like leaps and jumps and take risks, but they always have to be calculated. You can't just go, well, I've got 200 grand in the bank, I'm going to buy that for 200 grand, and let's see it works. You can't do that. You've got to be a bit more safe. But I would say probably the biggest learning of our business is just the running of the actual business as it's growing rapidly, and the staff and everything. But like, you know, we right from the beginning, we were kind of quite savvy in a sense. You know, when we got a 35-page contract from Channel 9, and it was $2 grand to have it read by a lawyer, most people would have gone, nah, let's not spend $2 grand, let's just sign it. I was like, no, because I think everyone's dodgy because I'm Italian and that's how we're wired. They're out to get us. Whereas the lady was like, everyone's fun and lovely, let's just sign it. I was like, no. So I think I got $1,000 from my parents, and she's like, I'll put in $1,000. I'm like, cool. And we got the contract signed. It was probably the best $2,000 we've ever actually done in our life, because contracts like that, when you don't know what you're signing, very difficult. I don't know whether I answered your question.
You did.
Did I answer it? Yeah. Anyway, lots of fun. So anyway.
Another question from the audience? I'll have Hayley's for all. You got a question? Yeah. You're going to have to introduce yourself through this microphone.
How come you've got a written name tag?
I'm guessing because
You're not a question answer.
Oh. You're like, what?
it's strong.
Yeah.
It is.
My question is, so following on from your answer to that question, is where did you go to get the information you need to learn all the business skills?
I don't know, I was hoping someone probably tonight. We haven't yet. I mean, I got a mentor this year, which has been fabulous. I think we've been very lucky to work right from the beginning with amazing businesses like the Romeo's Food Land, the G Fresh Spices, and they all came from generally word of mouth. You do a good and great job for someone, no matter what you spend in advertising, it doesn't matter. Referrals are the best thing you'll ever get. But working with all these great big businesses, I think I always just used to ask questions and pick brands, and I don't know, I was like the best thing and the worst thing. I always become friends with all of our clients, and sometimes you're too friendly, then you go, shit, we've just crossed a line. Hey, that's all good, but I feel like that's our biggest thing of what I've learned. You know, we're working with businesses that are, running $50 million businesses plus. So like our little business, I'm like, so how did you guys start that? Or, we don't have a HR team or anything like that. So I guess is surrounding yourselves with these great people and businesses and marketing and owners and different people, and always picking their brains, because you have a glass of wine with someone and you can just take out a lot more than probably an actual boardroom meeting. So that's what I do. That's my job, isn't it, Christy? The wine drinking. I'll be back in 2 hours, guys. Christy calls, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. They're the best meetings. Get to know people on, because in the end, we're all doing similar stuff. But I think the biggest thing as well is never start. I always say to smaller businesses starting out, never start just because your why is, why do you want to do this? Because I want to make money. I think that's the worst way you can start a business, in a sense of, yes, we all want to make money. It's what we're on the planet to do. But it shouldn't be your be-all and end-all, because I feel like if you're setting that intention at the beginning, it's not going to work. We often have people ask, how do you get paid, all this money to go speak at this event or do this? I'm like, well, it didn't just happen. 7 years ago, when we started, we had to do a lot of things for free. We worked Saturday nights, Sunday nights, said no to parties and friends things and family things, and missed out on all this time in order to build our business. And then now we've got to a stage where people might ask us to go speak at something, or they're paying us for our social media or whatever it is. But we don't just start there. It's a lot of sacrifice, and I think us as business owners, people might see us here with a nice car or whatever, but they don't actually see the tears and the stress and the feeling like a bad mum. We all have mum guilt, and many a time I've cried in the shower because I'm taking a call and yelling at my child, when really the call can wait. Like, why am I getting stressed at her? She just wants her dinner, or I think that's also the biggest challenge, is that mum-life balance, which, to be honest, I still haven't got. I suck at it. If anyone wants to help me there, it's a really hard job.
It'll feel like forever, fluctuate.
Forever. Some days you nail it, other days you're like, oh, I'm going to walk into the corner and cry.
So one more question before we get back to the drinking and networking. There is a lot of, I was going to ask you, but Selma is an absolute You're coming forward and taking a microphone. So one more question, then we can get back to networking. What are you going to bring?
Yeah.
You can still ask one question, whatever it is.
Well, I was just going to say, maybe at the end of Selma's question, you can tell us where to next, because there's a lot of ambition in this room. A lot of people, shooting for the stars, trying to do the next big thing. So
the most exciting.
Perhaps after Selma's question, we could finish on Lisa for any idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I work with a lot of businesses, and you've talked about the challenges of being a mum. I'm just wondering, have you worked with a mentor, and what would be your top tips for working as and owning and leading a business as a woman?
Well, unfortunately, weirdly, in this time when you think that we are pretty even in business, us men and women, men, love you, all of our staff are women, I think there's still that divide. Like, I still sometimes get, we've pitched something, we've written a prop, we've got a team of people, and I'll have a man say to me, oh, it's cute, you want to talk money? What the fuck? I can't say that. But that is still a thing in this day and age, which I don't like, and I do get on my high horse and want to talk about, but we don't. The biggest thing we've learned is you just got to always back yourself in.
always, you walk in, and I do think that it's come with like 7 or 8 years in business. Like when we first started, and we needed X amount of dollars to start the TV show, people could treat us like that and say those sorts of things, and I just laugh them off because we needed to make sure that we were getting our funds in order to have the show, whatever it is. But now, being a mum, and I wouldn't, if someone spoke to my daughter like that, it's probably really changed me in that sense. I don't take bullshit like that. But that's also come with now that people come to us and your business grows and you can be a bit more picky and choosy, whereas at the beginning it's a lot harder to be picky and choosy because you can't. So I think you've just always got to stick to your guns and your ethos, and you've got to be honest there. I don't know, I have that.
I'll just add something to that, because in that coaching and mentoring role as an entrepreneurship facilitator that Andy and I share, it's not okay that people treat you like that. It's really not.
I'm not just saying it's guys, because guys get it too. I'm just saying in our industry, because Hayley and I started, and we're 2 girls and we're friends, and we're always happy-go-lucky. We don't really take things too seriously, and people would always just go, oh, it's cute, 2 girls are here, and then you like put a proposal in front of them or whatever, and they go, oh, we pay for stuff. I'm like, yeah, mate, like we're a business. You don't, or people going, we'll pay you in wine, or we'll pay you in this, like a financial manager. I can't go to him, hey, thanks for your service, can I pay you in wine? He's like, no. But in our industry of marketing and social media, and sometimes people don't put the value on it like they should, whereas at the beginning, we kind of made that call of, even when we were earning nothing, I was like, no, we kind of knew our value quite quickly. And the minute you say no, I don't know, you get that confidence and people kind of know that you're not going to take shit.
I think that knowing your value is pretty important, because what I was going to say, it's not okay that people treat you like that.
No.
But what we often do see is a lot of people in business treating everyone else really well, treating their clients really well, and they treat themselves like shit. They talk to themselves like really down. And so I think it really is important to understand that value that you have, and be kind to yourself in that space. So that's the only thing I would add there. But can we finish on where to next?
Yeah. Thank you for that. I hope I answered that right. If I didn't, we'll chat later. Where to next? I think with every business, you always got to diversify and change. And like us, we've got our TV show, which recently this year we changed from Adelaide to Hello SA on Channel 9. It was probably another one of those moments where they were like, we think you should change the show, or maybe add a guide, you're going to get to the new time slot. And I was like, no, I'm not changing the name, not doing that. Because we built this brand that was respected, and I always wrote to Hayley, we were both riding into the sunset on our horses, just like being such little bitches, like absolutely not. But it's actually been the best thing we've ever done, changing our TV show to Hello SA, because now we've got 2 brands that we can push, and not all guys ever wanted to admit they watched Adelaide, they'd say it's a show for my wife. But now we've diversified, we've got Tommy Wren, so we've just signed a 2-year contract with Channel 9, 52 weeks of the year, brand new episodes. So that's happening. Our print mag, our social, our website. There's a few new things in the pipeline, a PR arm and other things. We've just hired a girl that's brilliant. But I think you always have to kind of have lots of things going on, because if one falls over, you can't be like, oh, well, there goes the business. So I think that's been one thing that Hayley and I, if we say we're going to do something, we do it, and sometimes it is so random. We'll call each other in the shower, I'm like, babes, I've had an idea. She's like, I'm in the shower, I'm like, same! And that's often where some of the best ideas will happen, but I'm lucky to have a business partner that we roll with it, we don't take things too seriously, and if we say we're going to do something, we bloody do it, and it's a lot of hard work, but hey, we all work hard, and that's the best thing, right? Not having a boss, because they suck, don't they, Christy?
Stick around, because interested in you're going to find out the contribution you make just by attending these events to changing people's lives. It's a really significant impact you have, so we'll be coming back to that in just a minute. But right now, because of the wonderful presentation that Lauren the Cesare has given, could you give us a massive round of applause, and those that ask those questions as well. Enjoy the drinks, and we'll be back very shortly. Thank you, Lauren. Penfolds wine to take home up this end of the room if you're heading up this way. There's 3 Penfolds wine to take home coming up this end of the room. So hopefully you listen to that one. 3 Penfolds wine to take home. You need to be up this side of the room, and you need to be listening to our next speaker. You don't actually know what the wines are. People can open it. Yeah, okay. Right. So who's... Okay, we've got a couple of seconds to put that... Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll grab this and I'll walk around with it. But right now, Beck Bates. Right, I'll grab this and I'll walk around with it. Lauren's going to pull it free. That's your bank card. You better come back for that one. Okay, no pulling cards out of here because someone's bank cards in here. Okay, so I'm going to walk around with this. Right? I'm going to walk around with this. Basically, Penfolds wine is the wine you want to be taking home, and you want to be winning it here in this business card draw. So, Lauren, you're going to pull this out in just a moment. Just a moment. No, relax there for a minute. Relax there for a minute. Right? Because right now, Beck Bates from. There's too many eyes in here for me to remember. Department for Innovation, Industry, Innovation and Skills is going to come up and talk to you for a couple of minutes. You can put yours in there. Yeah, and Beck, your business card that I just read that off of is going in that bucket as well. There you go. Okay, round of applause for Beck. Beck's friend. With this draw, I mean, if you're going to put your credit card, if you're going to put your business card, in a nice bucket for a draw, then this is the one you want to be in because what's in here, Mary? Different bottles of wine. Zoe, where are you, Zoe? No. You don't actually know what the wines are. People can open it. Yeah, okay. Right. So who's... Okay, we've got a couple of seconds to put that... Actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll grab this and I'll walk around with it. But right now, Beck Bates. I'll grab this and I'll walk around with it. Lauren's going to pull it free. As your bank. You better come back for that one. Okay, no pulling cards out of here because someone's bank cards in here. Okay, so I'm going to walk around with this. Right? I'm going to walk around with this. Basically, Penfolds wine is the wine you want to be taking home, and you want to be winning it here in this business card draw. So, Lauren, you're going to pull this out in just a moment. Just a moment. No, relax there for a minute. Relax there for a minute. Right, because right now, Beck Bates from. There's too many eyes in here for me to remember. Department for Innovation, Industry, Innovation and Skills is going to come up and talk to you. You can put yours in there. Yeah, and Beck, your business card that I just read that off of is going in that bucket as well. There you go. Okay, round of applause for Beck. Beck's generously agreed to step in the last minute because, anyway, you can tell us. I'll be around with this, making sure your credit card, not your credit cards, your business cards go in there.
Thanks, Scott. And I understand it's hard to listen to a speaker after a few wines and a bit of networking, so I'll be quick. So, as Scott said, my name is Beck. I am the Director for Creative Industries in the department that has a very long name. Ultimately, it's Industry, Innovation, and it was Skills, but now it's Science. And so I work closely with Catherine Culleby, who's the Director for Small and Family Business, who is sadly sick this evening. So I've stepped in for Catherine as we work close together, and I have some notes here that I'm literally going to read. Just a bit about Creative Industries. So, excuse me, I have a small team, literally 6 people, and we are responsible for facilitating the state government's investment into the screen industry through the Film Corporation and the Film Festival. We also support the Jam Factory and the artisans that move through there in high-end craft and design. And we deliver the state's music industry strategy through a music development office. And for a little while longer, we also run a co-working precinct for creative enterprise called the St Paul's Creative Centre on the corner of Flinders and Pontley Street. So the other thing that we do also is, because creative industries is so broad, and there is creative businesses across everything from performing arts through to digital, through to product design, fashion design. I think there's somebody here, the sarcasm guy that's a fashion designer, I guess. So all of these creative businesses, and my team, I suppose, acts as a bit of a concierge for creative businesses that either, a lot of them land in Adelaide, they come in and have a chat to my team, and so we have a good network that my team are all X industry, different elements of creative industries, so they've got big networks. So it's either about connecting people or concierging people into other areas of government where they might be able to get support. That's a good segue into the Office of Small and Family Business. So that's how I work, and my team works closely with Catherine Culleby in that Office of Small and Family Business. And as I said, Catherine's very generously given me some notes because there's some interesting data. So many of you would know this already, but so excuse me if you have heard all of this already, but small businesses play a critical role in South Australia's economy. 98% of businesses in South Australia are small business, and that makes up almost 40% of the workforce in the state, which is fantastic. Estimating that there's actually 145,000 small businesses in South Australia, and that's an annual contribution of about 45 billion to the state's economy, employing more than 300,000 people, which is amazing, because I think most of the small businesses are non-employing as well. Is that right? Yeah. Excuse me, I need 3 hands. So we now have a Minister for Small Business, which is relatively new, and so when Minister Andrew Michaels got into power in March with the new change in government, she's got a strong commitment to supporting businesses right across the state. And in doing so, the first sort of call to action for her was to establish this Office of Small and Family Business. And the vision for that is for it to be a conduit for small and family businesses across the state to access tailored services and support that will help equip business with information, support and resources to grow. So this office, and I have to say, which also is a small group of people and a small group of really passionate humans that I work with, you know, most of the time when I'm in Weymouth Street office, and they're really dedicated. They're behind the scenes, but I just want to make a point of saying they're really passionate about what they do. And like, for instance, now they're dealing with the floods and the funding that's going to small business in those regions. They're on the front line, and they really pour their heart and soul, and it's like they feel that devastation. So that's one extreme. But when a small business calls the office, those people are dedicated to helping you in any way they can. So they offer a kind of case management service, which they aim very hard to try and tailor support for the business needs of the person ringing them. So they offer those access to support services on planning and starting a new business, running and growing an existing business, and also exiting a business, which, if anyone's ever closed a business down, can be a bit of a mammoth task, I understand, as well as grants and support programs that might be available through the government from time to time, and as we all know, they change regularly. The office also connects businesses with programs that are run by the Commonwealth Government, so that's also, they're across everything that happens across the Commonwealth, so always good to keep in contact if you're not already in their mailing list, because those sort of things come through them. And also local government and non-government associations. There are cross opportunities that might be advantageous to you as well. Yeah. I really do need 3 rounds. Okay. In case you didn't already know, the website for the small and family business is just simply business.sa.gov.au, and there's a call centre, there's a number on there, you can call and speak to one of these people for a support officer. I've said all of that. So the next course of action for Catherine and her team is to deliver a small business strategy, and I believe it's going to be the first in a long time for the state. And in order to inform that strategy, and this is no mean feat, so I don't know if any of you have met Catherine. She's a dynamo, she's great, and she lands in her job, and then a new minister says, come on, we're going around the state to run a series of roundtables to inform a strategy that we want to release in March next year. So maybe that's why she's flat now, but she's been working really hard with the minister. So they've just, that's the biggest undertaking, the biggest extensive statewide business engagement activity for a really long time. I don't know if you know, but they did 21 roundtables across South Australia, as well as in-depth interviews, and they did a digital survey and got over 1,000 responses, which is fantastic. I mean, when the government sends out a survey, let's face it, not a lot of people like it, but 1,000 responses is great. It talks about a need and an interest, and I think it's really good engagement. There's going to be the findings of that survey are going to be released online. There's a note here in yellow highlight saying that they were waiting for the go live, and I got a message saying it wasn't quite ready today. So sadly, it's not there yet. But again, if you are engaged with that website and you are on their mailing list, as soon as that's available, I'm sure that they'll communicate that with people. And it's worth having a look at. I did one of the roundtables for Catherine that was specifically for creative industries, and we were looking at some of the insights that were coming through on that survey. And a lot of it you kind of would expect, but there was some real insights. And you know, the use of technology in small business there's a really low take-up, for instance. While it could be increasing productivity and making your business run quicker, it's small business like, well, I don't have the time to think about that. I've just got to keep my business going and earn money. So the things that are coming through that survey and the roundtables are all going to inform the strategy and where the key points that the government can step in to support businesses come through that. So the first sort of key program, which I'm sure many of you have already heard about, is the Women in Business program. And as was talked about earlier before, women do face different and additional barriers from time to time in their male counterparts, including, and interestingly, unequal access to capital. The networks are different, upskilling opportunities are different, as well as the well-documented juggle between caring for family and you know, starting a business. So these long-standing challenges potentially impact the number of women who choose to start their own business, let alone continue. And so that's going to, actually, she's got here that that's even heightened in rural and regional areas, which isn't unexpected either. So in recognising these barriers, the state government's $4 million contribution in this year's state budget to deliver the Women in Business package was launched in November, which I was at the luncheon. I don't know if anyone was here, was at that luncheon. It was incredible. The buzz in the it was at the Hilton or something, but in the foyer before we went in, it was so loud. It was incredible, and the action, I mean, the energy in the room was just, it was great. So even that as a networking event was fantastic. So the Women in Business program has a suite of support for female-led businesses to support with business resilience and, of course, growing their business. Now, there's 2 programs in this new initiative, but Catherine says it is just the start. There will be more that come through this program next year, and I think that's really important to note because this is something that's been turned around fairly quickly. So what they have turned around is the Women in Business Foundations program, and that's to support female entrepreneurs to engage in foundational business skills and development programs, such as mentoring to help them overcome barriers to growth and achieve business success. And the other one is the Women in Business Advisory program, which aims to equip women leading early stage and high growth businesses with the insights and understanding to establish best practice governance, undertake strategic planning, and assemble effective and balanced advisory boards. That sounds really impressive, but I think that's really important. Those 2 programs are complementary and aimed at slightly different target, I think, of business owners. Catherine and her team are, as the Minister, I have to say, they are really committed to creating a change in this space. And I think that if you've got feedback for them, they'll always be welcome to hear that as well. And they want to work with the community to make this work. So on behalf of Catherine, I'll say thank you for having me in her place, and thank you for listening to me. And please visit business.sa.gov.au, learn more about it, and use the resources that are there for you, and all the best with your business.
That's fantastic. Sam, we might have asked that question one-on-one because we were supposed to finish now, and we're already far past. So, but we do have a business card draw. So you still want to stay attentive there, Sandra, because your card might be in there. Okay, Lauren, where are you?
Yeah.
Very good. You've got a very important job. Hopefully you don't get too many...
Not too high.
So you'll be right with Italian names, won't you? You'll be right if the names come out and they're Italian or something like that.
You watch me. Anton Brown.
Anton.
Hey. Is Anton in wine?
Anton's one bottle of wine.
Thank you very much.
What's your business, Anton, quickly?
Brown and Son Plumbing and Gas Services.
You got
There you go. How's that? Announced by celebrity.
I just felt...
Okay.
that right? Is that the right stat? 14? 13.
I feel like this should be redrawn because otherwise people will get it wrong.
No, not a man. You can win one. I was legit. It's fine. I hope to put my card out there. Okay. Congratulations, man. Just do whatever. All right. Hashtag Instaprints.
Oh, so you're lucky to say, we're going to Very good. So Mary, perhaps you can start here and talk a little bit, just very, very quickly. We're going to have to get to this last section. We are pushing the time a little bit. But by attending these events, whether it be the breakfast or lunch, a percentage of the fee you get charged by Propel SA, which is ticket sales. That's it. That's the word I was But a percentage of the ticket sales goes to a very important cause. So you get to come along to fantastic networking events, rub shoulders and mix with really interested people, hear from fantastic speakers, and visit awesome venues, absolutely awesome venues. And the percentage of your ticket sales goes to changing people's lives. So the charity partner for this is
Treasure boxes.
Treasure boxes, and that's something that I think that everyone here that's been to an event, purchased a ticket for an event, you come along for free. Who have paid for your ticket, and we're really proud. But I think that everyone that's come along to an event, they can be really proud of the fact that money's gone to Treasure boxes, and we've got Simone and Ricky over there. Can you make your way up here really quickly, please, and tell us a little bit about Treasure boxes?
Simone, do you want to just come up and
Yes, Simone, if you can come up. Simone's a volunteer. We'll start with Simone, okay? Yeah? Start with Simone. Do you want to ask any questions or what? There you go. Simone. So you're a volunteer with Treasure boxes?
I am. I've been volunteering since February. The reason I started volunteering is my 4-year-old went to kinder, and suddenly I've got all this time. What am I going to do with myself?
Don't start a business.
Well, I've decided after tonight I can't. But Treasure boxes kept popping up in my Facebook feed, and I thought, what a great organisation. An organisation that helps kids up to the age of 16 with just everyday essential items. So for me, when I was younger, my parents got divorced. It was part of a domestic violence situation. So for me, every Christmas we got a hamper from our church. That was our community, and that was our community saying to us that you are needed. We are going to support you in this very small way. So for me, that box meant fun. I got, lolly snakes. I got blue craft cheese. All of these things that we don't usually get, I got. And so for me, that was a memory that I kept till this day. So when we're helping people out now, I am packing and dispatching and making sure that kids get these beautiful boxes, and they've got clean, older type clothes, new clothes, toys, shoes, everyday essentials that they need to just live their life. And so their parents to then go, okay, my kid, it has clothes, I can then concentrate on feeding them, getting them to school, getting them an education and a chance to succeed, really. And also, for me, it was a chance to give back to my community and be, I guess I'm aware that everybody doesn't have it as good as me. And it's a good chance to be able to provide for other people. And every time I walk in there, I'm walking into a different situation every time. It's just a warehouse, nothing fancy, but we're there for the kids and we're there to provide for our community. And it's just, I was saying to some people tonight, it's just a great feeling that you get. When you go home at night, you don't have a boss that said, yeah, you've done really great. You've got all of these small moments through the day where you're going, I have succeeded in giving this kid something that they're going to really enjoy. And it was really great for me. My youngest daughter had a pick-free day from kinder, and we were packing treasure boxes for the Ukraine community that had come over, and there was this one for a 4-year-old girl, you know, arrived with nothing. And we were able to provide her with clothes and shoes, and I was able to say to my 4-year-old frozen-loving daughter, what do you think a 4-year-old girl would like? And we could go and pick out toys that she would want, a lovely coat that she would need for winter, all of those kind of things. And we've recently opened another area for treasure boxes at Devon Park, which is a really big area of need in our Adelaide area. And I had the pleasure to work out there quite a number of times, and because it's part of Food Bank, we have people that just walk in and say, what do you do? Tell me about what I can get from your service. And we had this lady in tears because she had 2 kids and she didn't know what she was going to do for Christmas. And all she wanted was clothes and shoes. She wasn't interested in the toys. She wanted to provide the basics for her children. And it's really lovely to be able to say to people like that, look, we've got you covered, we've got your back. So that's what we try and do there. And I think everybody that is part of our organisation feels strongly about that and about providing what we can, even if it's just half an hour of our service, to make things better for our whole community.
Fantastic, very inspiring. And enjoy a night like this. They can enjoy a night like this. They can buy a ticket, and some of that can go towards change. I mean, it's just such a paradox, isn't it?
It is, but you know, look, we all come from different parts of this community, and we all have been very fortunate to get where we've come, where we've got to. And if we've got the opportunity, whether it be money, time, or even, you know, last year's clothes from our kids, we can make a difference. And it's a very small difference for us, but a very big difference for other people. So, yeah.
Ricky, can you kind of give us a few stats and statistics around what you do and what's important?
I can. I think you just nailed it.
There you go.
I know that was amazing. I don't think I'm going to pass the mic to you every time. Simone summed it up from the heart, which is amazing. I'll give you some stats. We went around 4 years ago, so in 4 years we've gone from nothing to supporting 2,500 kids a year. We now have 3 warehouses, 2 in Edwardstown, 1 in Devon Park. So we're now supporting the northern families, our southern families. We pass out almost $3 million worth of stuff every year to families. So we have amazing partnerships with 160 organisations, so the Catherine Houses of the World, Africa, Baptist Care, Child Protection, Human Services, SA Health, all now use our service to support families in need. So thank you for choosing us this year. Mary and Vicky, thank you guys for choosing us subconsciously. But yeah, we've put the money to good use. This Christmas, we have not seen anything like it. We've got families. I had a conversation with a lady yesterday. 11 days ago, she left her house with her 2 children, 11-month-old and 4-year-old little girl, and she fled to a secret location in the country to escape her husband, who she'd been dealing with domestic violence for years and years. And she said up until 3 weeks before, she was planning her exit minute by minute, hour by hour. She's got the property she's in for the next 2 weeks, and then she's got nothing. She can't find anything else. So we're not quite entirely sure what's going to happen there. But that's the kind of family and the mum that you're supporting. So thank you so much.
Can I just say get the board members to come up as well, please?
Round of applause for the board members of the Propel. In nice and close so the cameras can catch you all.
So, we'd like to present you with a cheque.
I haven't seen it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
You take that, you take that.
It's $1,000, but we've got another 200 to add to it.
What? Really?
what you do. And we didn't do it this year, but we will do it next year. Tears, I'm sorry, people. I'm such an emotional cancer. Cancerian, sorry, not a cancer. We will be doing some voluntary corporate down to the warehouse to help out, and let's feel what happens down in the workshops. Warehouse.
Yeah,
But no, thank you so much, Ricky.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's been an awesome year, and there's going to be more of that coming through. Does anyone from the board want to say anything?
John, come on, you always want to say.
I had the pleasure of going to one of these warehouses and seeing what they do, and it's just amazing. There is shelves and shelves and shelves of essentials, as was previously said, and the emotion that you get walking through here and listening to some of these stories, and you do an amazing job. You are an incredible person, as is everybody that's there, and they have this sort of corporate function or something you could do where you can go out and help that I've been meaning to get to, but I will promise to do that next year. We go and provide your help, packing shelves and stuff like that, but they are always looking for those essentials. So for you guys who have, is it still prams and stuff that are really...
Cots, car seats, pushes, Tupperware, linen, quilts, anything. If you're in business and you need to pass on items you don't need anymore, we'll accept them and pass them to a car.
Yeah, so it's a great cause. If you've got that gear around and you have no need for it, pass it on, because it really does help those families in need. And yeah, once again, thanks very much for a wonderful job.
Thank you.
So round of applause for yourselves, because it's your contribution that you turn up to these shaking hands, getting together, buying tickets for these events, which you're getting so much out of, and now there's an awesome charity partner that's getting some great work out of it. So round of applause for the board who've put this together and changed them to the charity partner. We've done so much for you already this year, and planning to do the same and even more next year. If you like, maybe get some more stuff. Round of applause for Simone. Simone's inspired me so much. I'm going to chuck out some $50. And if anyone else wants to chuck $50 into, if anyone else wants to chuck some cash in, I'm sure you get accepted, right?
Thank you so much.
Very good. So, round of applause, yeah. And please, got a couple more minutes to drink, or I mean, it was supposed to finish late. So, just stay until you get out. Right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful Christmas, great New Year, and.
Everyone, I just think that we need to say thank you to Mary. She's done such a fantastic job. I know it's on top of so many other commitments that you have. Your commitment is long term, it is solid, you care deeply about what you're doing, and I really appreciate it. So a round of applause to Mary.